Somebody across the street was telling me that these apartments, which have been closed down for the last few years, at the time when they were open, were filled with nothing but scumbags, drug dealers, and criminals. The disgusting, creeping clowns that I'm going to be talking about in today's video, they probably lived in this dump right here. This is a very, very sad story. A young woman was tragically killed, all by the hands of several people involved, ultimately led in her death. Now, this is what I'm gonna guess is a hot spot for college kids here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. LSU is not very far from where I'm currently standing at right now. So across the street is a bar. It's called Fred's. Now, before it used to be called Reggie's, and this is where on January 14th of 2023, 19-year-old Madison Brooks goes here to party it up and have a good time. I travel most of the continental United States, so each state is going to have different laws pertaining to everything. Do not ask me why, but in Louisiana, bars like what was once Reggie's, now Fred's, they have a thing over here in Louisiana, kind of backwards if you ask me, where you can have a bar and people under 21 could go as long as they're 18. Now, normally these places like Fred's, which from what I was told is no longer 18 and up. I believe now you have to be 21 to go inside because of this incident occurring. So normally places like this, when you go into this bar, which is kind of like a bar slash club, if you will, if you're not 21 and you're not able to drink, then they're gonna give you a different colored wristband than what other people who are over the age of 21 have. But that night, Madison Brooks, 19 years old, she goes over there, but she goes in with a fake ID. So this is something that she's probably done before in the past. Now, it's not exactly clear, but it looks like when Madison came to Reggie's, she had already been drinking somewhere else. So they're saying at that bar that they did not serve her any alcohol, but she had been drinking a lot, way too much. As a matter of fact, her BAC at the time of her death was 0.319, which is very close to being considered poisoned when it comes to alcohol. So you got closing time, 2 a.m. So the bartenders, they say last call, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where the hell Madison's friends are, but apparently they all disappeared, or maybe she wandered off because she was so intoxicated. So while she's at this establishment, she meets up with a couple of guys. The four individuals that Madison Brooks would meet that night is one 28-year-old Everett Lee, 18-year-old Kason Carver, 18-year-old Kavion Washington, and 17-year-old Desmond Carter. So she asked whichever one of these guys is the one driving, she asked if she can get a ride home. She gets into their vehicle. However, these four losers, they have absolutely no intentions of taking this girl home. They can clearly see she's intoxicated. I mean, hell, even Carver, when he was talking to the detectives after he was arrested, he basically said she was unstable on her feet, she couldn't keep her balance, and she could not speak clearly without slurring her words.
I'm sorry that I offended you that bad. Get out.
Take her out.
I will Uber on my own. I'm sorry that your feelings got hurt.
So these guys drive out of this parking lot and they hang a right because they're gonna have a little fun with her. So Carver and Lee, they're sitting up front, and you got Carter and Washington, they're in the back, and Madison is sitting in the middle of them. And you got a video which has been leaked by the scumbag defense attorney that is representing one of these losers. And in these leaked videos, it's representing Madison Brooks in a negative light. She calls one of the guys a derogatory word, which she probably is, and she's cussing. It's not a good look on her, I will admit that. But also, as an adult, as a man, you can clearly see that this girl has had way too much to drink. And however, these guys can also see that, but they're not men, they're scumbags. And their intentions are to find some kind of a parking lot, a place to park, because they're finna rape her, as Carver said, supposedly on a video that has not been leaked out to the public as far as I'm aware. Finna rape her. Okay. Crazy vernacular these kids come up with nowadays. So they go into a parking lot, and for the next 20 minutes, they proceed to rape her. So you have Kavion Washington, which is supposedly, reportedly, seen on a video pushing Madison down while Desmond Carter takes off his pants and rapes her. And they had put up some kind of an obstruction in the back window so nobody could see what they were doing. And of course, one of the losers in the front, they put on their favorite rap artist very, very loudly. So nobody can hear her screaming, I don't know, get the hell off me? What are you doing? So these guys, for about 20 minutes, they take advantage of her. I like to call it rape, but I guess you guys out there will have your own opinion on this. So after the deed is done, they have no intentions of taking her home because they just committed a crime and they all know they did. So they head out of the parking lot and drop her off on some random street. After they were done having their way with her, it's 3 o'clock in the morning now, and it's raining. They drive down this street right here on Burbank, right across from the Pelican Lakes development right there. They drop her off here. She wanders into the street, and this is exactly where she was struck and killed. These bastards know exactly what they did, and they know what they did was absolutely wrong and absolutely terrible. And as far as I'm concerned, they are wholeheartedly responsible for her death. By the time the next morning comes, going into the afternoon, Madison's death is all over the local news in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And one of the people that's watching the news is a bartender that worked at Reggie's, and he immediately recognizes her because he remembers her from the previous night. This bartender is also friends with Kason Carver. So he messages Carver and he says, hey, do you remember that girl from the bar? And he sends a link to the article detailing her death. Kason Carver, all of a sudden, he says, oh crap. So he immediately starts some kind of a group message via either IG or something with the other three. And he basically tells them, okay, boys, we got to get our story straight. Now, why would you need to get your story straight? You guys did nothing wrong, right? So they start messaging each other saying whatever, whatever. And as soon as everything comes to light, when the detectives are doing an investigation, They eventually arrest all 4 individuals. Now, immediately, Everett Lee and Kason Carver, they're charged with basically accessory to 3rd-degree rape. And in Kavion Washington and Desmond Carter, they're charged with 3rd-degree rape. In Louisiana law, 3rd-degree rape is basically when somebody is too inebriated, they're too drunk to give consent for sex. And then they get the video that Carver was taking, showing her in the back yelling at him or being derogatory towards him, and immediately all 4 are taken to jail. Now, as far as I know right now, 3 of the 4 made bail. The Washington character, he is still in jail because not only could he not make bail, but he has another rape case from 2020. Apparently he raped a 12-year-old when he was 15 years of age, and that is a 1st-degree charge. So that guy in particular is looking at a long time in prison here in Louisiana. Now, listen, guys, I have to say the uncomfortable subject about this story. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't. Race makes up a huge component in this story. Number one, if she was not white and the suspect's black, I would have not done this story because I would have not known about it. And of course, Louisiana being a state in the South, there's a long history of racial divide. So if you don't think that in this story that has anything to do with it, you're either lying or you're crazy. Now, you have a couple different aspects on the defense attorney's side in this matter. Number one, again, I got to remind you guys, these 4 individuals, even though they might be losers and scumbags, and other words that I can't say on this platform, they didn't entice Madison to come to their vehicle. She willingly ran to their vehicle because she wanted a ride. Now, according to one of their statements, she was telling them that she wanted to go home or she wanted to go to a sorority sister's house. However, she gave them 3 different addresses and they were driving around and they just couldn't find it. That's why they ended up dropping her off at that subdivision across the street in Pelican Lakes, because they couldn't find the house. Number 2, supposedly, and I guess I don't know this because I haven't seen the video, that they asked Madison 5 different times, or however so many times, if she was sure that she wanted to have sex with them. And she supposedly said yes. Again, guys, we're talking about consent. What's consensual, okay? Some of us guys have been in that situation before where you meet a girl at a bar and she's really drunk and you just say, you know what, this is kind of weird. I've been in that situation. I don't know about you guys, but you know, you're at a bar, you're drinking. I'm younger at the time. And I feel that she has had way too much to drink. And I'm like, no, I'm not even going to bother with this, because first of all, it's just not a very good look on a woman when she's sloppy drunk. And it's unbecoming, and I know better than that. I know better than that. However, I also feel in this situation that these individuals should have known better, that Madison was very inebriated. She was very intoxicated. She was very drunk. As a matter of fact, from the video at Reggie's, she could be seen, I want to say she was ordering drinks right up to about 12:50 a.m. or so, and then that was it. But that she was drinking other people's drinks as well. So this might have been a young woman who, you know, some of us should not drink because we kind of lose control of one of ourselves. And the defense attorneys, they're also talking about another thing too. They're talking about the BAC level, blood alcohol content. So Madison was 0.319, which is 4 times the legal limit to drive in Louisiana. Now, the attorneys are saying that because if you're between .350 and I want to say 399, that is considered on the levels of alcoholic poisoning. And in those numbers, if you're near there or there, that you are blacking out, you're passing out, you're basically falling down, and you have no control over yourself. So they're thinking that they want to say that the states, when they took her blood, that they want to kind of dispel those findings. However, between me and you guys out there, we all know that some of us handle our alcohol a lot differently more than others. Not everybody is going to be the same. All of our bodies, we're all different. When I drink, sometimes I'll talk too much, or maybe I'll say things that I shouldn't have said. Now, I mean what I say when I'm drinking. I mean those words, and I say it forever and eternity. But I guess I'm a little bit more loose when it comes to letting you guys know what I feel about any particular subject. Other people, they could drink one drink and they're just blitzkrieged. Other people, they could drink 20 drinks and they can drive straight as an arrow, 75 miles an hour on the freeway, all the way to home, park the vehicle in the garage. So I think the defense is going to have a very tough time with this case. If their intention is to convince the 12 jurors of this matter, whenever the case starts going to trial, which it has not yet, because this is going to be a very one of those touchy, difficult cases to try for everybody involved. You're going to see that they're going to try to dispel any notions of their clients being rapists, and they're going to paint Madison as a woman that had used bad judgment. They're going to try to shine a bad light. They're going to say some other things about her that they're going to find through he said, she said talks out there. So, ultimately, a lot of people's hands are involved in this young lady's death. And definitely, shouldn't have got into the vehicle. But at the same time, the adult in the matter, the 28-year-old, the Everett Lee, you're 28 years old. First of all, what the hell are you doing hanging around with teenagers? What are you, like? Are you one of those dweebs that, people your age don't like you because you're a geek, so you hang out with younger people so you could seem like you're intelligent? You should have known better than that, dude. You should have known that this girl was drunk and that you guys needed to, if not take her home, and if she was having problems or trouble directing you to take her to whatever address, you should have at least dropped her off at a store, at a convenience store, where she would be safe. But you have just creeps and losers in this situation that ultimately, and I believe it in my heart, they ultimately just took advantage of this girl, and they do have a hand in her death. This is the final resting place of Madison Brooks. I do hope at the bottom of my heart that the family does get justice, because there's definitely people in this matter that need to go to prison, and they need to go to prison for a very long time.